loved it. It was beautiful.
Especially if you just want to relax.
This is Channel 2 News, coverage you can count on.
Good evening. Well, many resorts in Tahoe have already closed their slopes due to a lack of snow, and in the coming weeks, several other resorts plan to end their seasons too. And that's making business down by the lake slower for local stores and restaurants. Amanda Ketchledge is live in the studio with more on how the dry winter is impacting business. Amanda?
That's right. We talked to a couple businesses in Tahoe City today, and things weren't looking too good for them this season, so they're planning on changing things up with the warmer weather. Several shops and restaurants along this stretch of Tahoe City are starting to see business melt away like the snow.
There's not a happy hour after skiing. A lot of people like to do that, and we don't see any of that.
We talked to Tahoe Dave's Ski and Snowboard Shop a couple weeks ago when the last snowstorm brought in more customers, but things have changed since that visit.
What are you looking for?
The number of full-time employees is definitely less than in years past, and the full-time employees may not be getting 40 hours a week. It might be more like 30 hours a week.
Ethan Westwood is the manager of the shop, and he said it's the 4th year of less than average snowfall and business.
We got snow in December. Things were starting off good, and everybody kind of thought that this was going to be the year. We broke out of it, and that didn't happen whatsoever.
While Tahoe Dave's depends highly on the winter time for business, they convert the store into a summer beach outlet that sells bathing suits and tennis gear during the warmer months. And other places like Christie Hill Lakeside Bistro takes advantage of the summer weather too.
How big is your group?
Restaurants are already seeing their customers sit outside on the patio for this unusually warm weather, but that doesn't mean business is booming.
Almost every month this winter, I think every month we've had some people out enjoying the fire pits. And
New restaurants like Moe's Original Barbecue are in their first year, and they're trying to draw in more customers to the beach while the slopes continue to dry up. They say it's a slow selling point to come to Tahoe City right now with barely any snow, so they're adding to the menu.
We would do a little bit better of a lunch than we normally do in the previous years. Probably the mountains themselves are probably a little bit, under the weather in the lunch department there.
And the Lake Tahoe Visitors Authority says that summer is historically the prime time for foot traffic in the area, so local venues hope the warmer months will make up for the lack of business in the winter. Covering Money Watch, Amanda Ketchlich, Channel 2 News.
Okay, Amanda, thank you. So with a little bit of a cool down and even a light dusting of snow in the mountains today, is there any more on the way? Chief Meteorologist Mike Aldridge joins us now in the Weather Center with the answer. Mike?
Yeah, I don't think really. We got a chance of maybe a few more isolated showers tomorrow afternoon. But this little system that came through here today left an inch or two of snow in some places up in the hills, even a little more significant amount south of Lake Tahoe. But right now, all we're really seeing is kind of the cool air flowing in behind this first front and another front that's trying to work its way toward us, but in all likelihood isn't going to get that close to us. You can see this band right here, and it's a nice little frontal band along the northern coast range of California, and that certainly is an area that could use it, but it doesn't look like it's really going to be digging down that far, and we may see a little bit of enhancement here in the mountains, and I'll show you that in more detail in the full weathercast coming up in a few minutes. But all in all, we're not really going to see a tremendous amount out of that. What we are going to see, I think, are these temperatures that today cooled off to 57 degrees for our high temperature here in Reno. Now at this point, they've dropped down to about 47. Now, we're going to be a little cooler tonight, but as we start the day tomorrow, it's not going to be all that cold. Upper 30s in the valley, upper 20s with cloud cover at Lake Tahoe. Now, there is a warming trend coming up, however, as we get toward the end of the week. We'll tell you more about that coming up here in a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Mike. While the weather is affecting some business around Lake Tahoe, another is moving forward with plans for a major resort on the North Shore. Developers for the Boulder Bay Resort plan to build 24 condominiums, plus a 300-room hotel, casino, and a health and wellness center. The resort will be built on the site of the Tahoe Biltmore Hotel. A new survey shows Esmeralda County is one of the most dangerous in the nation when it comes to deadly car accidents. But it is important to note that the numbers can be misleading since they are based on population. AutoInsuranceCenter.com found in Esmeralda County between 1994 and 2013, there were nearly 700 crashes per 10,000 residents. By comparison, there were 16 crashes per 10,000 residents during that same time in Washoe County. Statewide, the survey found there were roughly 21 fatal accidents per 10,000 residents in the Silver State. Now, today, we talked to the Highway Patrol to see what they're doing to reduce that statistic.
We try to go after the distracted drivers, the impaired drivers, drivers not wearing their seatbelts and the child restraints, and hazardous moving violations such as failing to maintain your travel lane.
And for a link to the report, head to our website, KTVN.com, and click on the blue News Links button. Well, NDOT is asking drivers to be extra careful with several road projects scheduled through the summer months. This week is designated National Work Zone Awareness Week. And while they say safety is the #1 priority for workers, crashes can also impact drivers and pedestrians.
In just one recent one-year period, there were 6 fatalities in Nevada road work zones. Those were all drivers.
Plus, the penalty for speeding violations doubles in work zones. NDOT officials say if you know you're going to be driving through a work zone, make sure to give yourself extra time and don't follow too closely behind the other drivers. New tonight at 11, the Nevada Department of Wildlife is investigating after a viewer alerted us of a goose near Lake Tahoe that has an arrow stuck in its body. Now take a look. A man living near Cave Rock at the lake first noticed this injured goose yesterday afternoon, and our wardens have been notified and are investigating. But officials say if the bird can fly, there's really not much that can be done. However, if you know anything about what happened to the Goose or if you see anything similar, call Operation Game Thief at 1-800-992-3030. Now, it is important to note that in Nevada, it is illegal to shoot geese unless you have a hunting license and are on designated land during hunting season, which did end in January. Well, Nevada lawmakers have introduced a bill that could lead to the regulation of rideshare companies like Uber. Senate Bill 439 would create a framework to allow the operation of transportation network companies, which allow people to hail a ride using a smartphone. Uber briefly operated in Nevada this past fall before a state judge issued a restraining order saying the company refused to follow regulations governing taxicab companies. State lawmakers are also reviewing a bill that would require state officials to prepare an annual report on obesity in the Silver State and what is being done to combat it. Democrat Mo Dennis is sponsoring SB 402, which would create a specific definition of obesity. That definition would be a waist size of 40 inches or more for men and 35 or more for women. And we'll be sure to keep you up to date on the Nevada legislature, so stay with Channel 2 News on the air, online, through Facebook and Twitter. Sparks Mayor Gino Martini is focusing his attention on the city's 5-year plan, which he addressed in the annual State of the City today.
The city's vision statement and core focus is to be the city of choice for residents, businesses, and visitors.
Martini says one of the goals is to support spending without threatening the city's creditworthiness. The presentation also gave thanks to residents, the city council, and business owners who have prospered since the recession. Now, the owner of the Blind Onion credits help from the city for his success.
The great thing about Sparks is that they made that whole process easy and painless.
Now, Mayor Martini also added that Sparks saw a revenue increase in 2014, which is the first time that's happened in 6 years. Well, we are still 17 months away from the presidential election, but Republican Senator Ted Cruz has officially thrown his hat in the ring. Aaron Breen takes a look at what it means for the political season.
Ted Cruz took center stage at Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia this morning to say he believes in the power of conservative Americans.
And that is why today I am announcing that I'm running for President of the United States.
Political analysts say that the Republican field will be a crowded one with as many as 24 candidates considering a run. And the fact that Cruz went first wasn't really a surprise.
I think there was tremendous expectation that he would be the first to formally declare, and so it became kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Somebody's got to be first. He's starting from behind. If you look at the major candidates that are potential candidates, he has the thinnest resume.
Usually you see the likely weaker candidates, the one with less name recognition, with more funding challenges, will tend to announce sooner. The more tried and true candidates that already have strong connections to lines on donations and campaign organizations have a lot more control in this process and can sort of slow the timing of their announcement.
Like Hillary Clinton, everyone seems certain she'll run, but she has more to gain from dragging out the anticipation of an announcement. And while that can make the Democratic Party seem stronger now, it also reveals some weaknesses. Like, what if she stumbles?
The Democrats, what's plan B if Hillary crashes? Where on the Republican side, it's like they've got plans A through Z. They've got so many candidates who are going to jump in.
Covering the story, Aaron Breen, Channel 2 News.
Well, Nevada is still considered one of 7 swing states. Both Herzig and Locken believe that means we will be seeing a lot of candidates and money from political ads coming into the Silver State. Looking around the nation now, police in Virginia say they cannot confirm a gang rape at the University of Virginia, described in a Rolling Stone article last year. The Charlottesville police chief says police could not confirm that a rape occurred at any fraternity house, including the one described at the Phi Kappa Psi fraternity house in 2012 by the Rolling Stone article. The student claiming rape did not cooperate with investigators, and soon after the article was published, discrepancies arose. Rolling Stone has since apologized. Former NFL star Darren Sharper will spend nearly a decade in federal prison. Sharper agreed to several plea deals with prosecutors in rape cases in 4 different states, including California. In a Los Angeles courtroom, he said that it was, quote, in his best interest to plead no contest to drugging and raping 2 women in LA in 2013 and 2014.
You should understand, Mr. Sharper, that a plea of no contest to these felony charges is exactly the same as a plea of guilty.
In all, 9 women in 4 states accused Sharper of drugging them with sleeping pills, then raping them when they were unconscious or unable to consent. The assaults took place after Sharper retired from football in 2011, and some while he worked as an analyst for the NFL Network. Also new tonight, the governor of Utah has signed a law making it the only state to allow firing squads for executions if no lethal injection drugs are available. Utah is one of several seeking new forms of capital punishment after a botched lethal injection last year in Oklahoma. Proponents say the firing squad is a more humane form of execution, while opponents say it's barbaric and makes the state look bad. Looking around the world now, the Pentagon is notifying 100 military members that their names and addresses were posted on the internet by a group calling itself the Islamic State Hacking Division. The group said it was posting the information to encourage Muslims in the United States to kill those military members. The Pentagon spokesman says there's no indication that the information was obtained through a government data breach, but that it could have been gathered from public records or social media. The House has overwhelmingly approved a resolution urging President Barack Obama to send lethal weapons to Ukraine in its fight against Russian-backed rebels. State Department officials say Obama administration officials are discussing lethal assistance, but are waiting to see whether the agreements that led to a February ceasefire are implemented. Still to come on Channel 2 News at 11, after Chrysler recalled thousands of Jeeps, safety advocates are still voicing concerns. We'll have the details, but first... New research may give Kennedy Steele and other children who were born deaf the ability to hear.
Skies are beginning to break up a little bit here temporarily, although a slight chance of showers does exist tomorrow. What will the rest of the week hold weather-wise? We'll have the answer for you coming up right after this.
This is Channel 2 News at 11 with Ariana Bennett. Sports with Garrett Dearborn. And Mike Alger's Pinpoint 2 forecast. Channel 2 News continues with Chief Meteorologist Mike Alger's Pinpoint 2 forecast, broadcast certified by the American Meteorological Society.
We had a little bit of rain last night. Most of what we saw in town here was actually just kind of blowing in off the mountains, and then by this afternoon, even those light showers were disappearing. Mountains beginning to break up some of their clouds that they had. They were socked in up on the peaks here, but most of the snow itself that fell, and it ranged from a couple of inches in some of the passes and some chain controls earlier today to as much as 4 to 6 inches of snow once you got south of Tahoe. Right now, things have quieted down pretty much regionally. We're at 47 degrees at our location here at the airport. At the top of the hour, 45% humidity. Dew points been up in the mid to upper 20s all day long. Barometer now is rising, and our winds have backed off a little bit. They're now to the north-northwest at 7 miles per hour. High temperature of 57 degrees today was actually 2 below average. We're finally having a cooler than average day, but that's not going to last long. Tomorrow we're going to be right back up another couple of degrees here. 43 was our low last night. We should get a little bit cooler tonight. If you look at what's going on, it's actually coming in waves. Now the overall flow, instead of a great big ridge of high pressure that's lifted up, we've got almost what we call a zonal flow. That's a flow coming in off the ocean. And if you look at the jet stream at this point, it's kind of flowing in almost right on top of us here. It's really not producing a whole lot at this point. And right now we got a little bit of a bump here. We got a little low pressure system up here now, kind of approaching the Pacific Northwest. It is going to drag this tail end of the cold front across into the mountains by tomorrow. That means probably by tomorrow afternoon, if you watch what happens up here, we'll see some showers beginning to develop, and some of them may pop over here. We got a cold pool of air sort of left over from the last front, so we might see some isolated showers. You can see there isn't a whole lot. And then after tomorrow night, it pretty well clears out. We start to build that ridge back up. Jet stream pops up into Washington State, northern Oregon perhaps, and by Wednesday we'll be mostly clear here and probably clear into the weekend with a warming trend that'll be very, very noticeable. Tomorrow, just a few degrees warmer than today. We'll see 50s or 60s in the southern half of the state, depending on your location. Northern part of the state, again, nobody getting all that cold. Elko and Eureka might get to or below the freezing mark, but we'll see 50s for your highs up there, warming up into the low, maybe even some mid-60s in the west. I think we'll be just about 60 degrees here in Reno tomorrow. Actually, a degree warmer in Carson City. Overnight lows will be in the 30s, and then up at the Lake Tahoe area, you'll be looking at highs somewhere in the mid-30s with lows down in the 20s. Your neighborhoods at this point, again, unless you're Galena, you probably won't get down to the freezing mark. It'll be cooler than last night, not unusually so for this time of year. High temperatures, upper 50s into the low 60-degree range. So Tahoe, we will see a fair amount of cloudiness, maybe an isolated shower here and there. High of 53. Winds won't be as strong as today. 10 to 15 though out of the southwest. For the Reno area, we'll look for mostly cloudy skies. West winds for us 10 to 15, maybe a 20% chance is all we're going to get of a shower tomorrow. Our high tomorrow 60, warms up quickly, 67 on Wednesday, sunny on Thursday, 72, 77 by Friday. And even though we back off a few degrees, weekend's going to be warm, it's going to be dry, and we may see some clouds coming in here for the first part of next week, but nothing at this point that's really going to add. It's really too late in the year anyway. We might, you can see some wet Aprils around here that might make a very small difference, but be unusual for it to be an amount enough to really do much to the drought.
I had some hope. I went over the pass today and there was a dusting.
We had some new snow up there. That's, like you say, psychologically it's fun. It's not really going to help the water, I'm afraid.
All right, thanks, Mike. Coming up, Kennedy Steele was born deaf, but now she's able to hear her mother's voice. Details on the device that made it happen and what it means for children like Kennedy. New tonight in Health Watch, a new brain implant may help children who are born deaf hear for the first time. And a new study is giving one family hope. With the help of an implant, 3-year-old Kennedy Steele is hearing her mother's voice for the first time. That happy dance happened every time researchers at NYU Langone Medical Center stimulated the nerves.
It was something I'm looking forward to for a long time.
Kennedy is one of a small number of deaf children in the United States testing the auditory brainstem implant. Kennedy was born without auditory nerves. This implant bypasses what's missing in her inner ear. Doctors have used the auditory brainstem implant with older patients, but the FDA just recently approved testing on children. Researchers say the big unknown is what exactly the brain will do with these new sounds.
Is that enough information to allow her to understand speech, to produce speech, and to develop language?
Doctors plan to follow Kennedy for the next 5 years to see how her speech develops. Her mother says it's exhilarating to see her daughter respond.
My family is looking forward to getting to communicate better with her. That's the most important thing.
Well, we have an update on medical marijuana establishments opening in the Silver State. The Nevada Division of Public and Behavioral Health has given Sierra Wellness Connection approval to grow medical marijuana at its cultivation facility in Reno. The state says several other medical marijuana establishments are getting ready to open in the coming months. And tonight, the new Late Late Show with British comedian James Corden premieres right here on Channel 2. Corden has been lining up A-list guests for his first week at the interview desk. Tonight, he welcomes Tom Hanks and Mila Kunis.
He's an amazing father.
You mean your husband, Ashton?
Yes, my husband,
Ashton. How? No, are you married? Did you get married? Have you got married?
I don't know, maybe.
Oh, come on. No one's maybe got married. You've either got married or you haven't got married. Have you got married?
Maybe.
Well, that's a yes as far as I'm concerned. Did you get married? What do you mean? Let me look at your hand. Boy. Oh, you got married. They got married, everybody.
Well, you can catch the entire Late Late Show in about an hour right after The Late Show with David Letterman right here on CBS. Coming up next, after several deadly crashes, Chrysler recalled certain Jeeps, but some say the recall hasn't worked. Welcome back. Safety advocates are sounding the alarm about Chrysler's recall of certain Jeeps. As John Potter reports, the location of the gas tank is being called a safety risk, and a rupture could result in a deadly fire.
23-year-old Kayla White was 8 months pregnant with her first child when her 2003 Jeep Liberty was struck from behind.
My phone rang one time, my house phone, and it was all zeros across it. And I knew she was gone.
This was Kayla's Jeep before the crash, and this is what it looked like afterward. The plastic gas tank melted away. Witnesses said there was an explosion when the SUV was rear-ended. Kayla died in the fire. Test after test has shown the potential danger of the rear-mounted fuel tanks in model year 1993 to 2004 Jeep Grand Cherokees and 2002 to 2007 Liberties. For 3 years, Chrysler argued the vehicles were not defective. Then in June 2013, NHTSA sent this letter asking Chrysler to recall the vehicles. Chrysler's solution, putting a tow hitch on the vehicles as part of a voluntary safety recall. Safety experts and victims' lawyers say that fix is inadequate, but Chrysler said the installation of a hitch assembly is the agreed upon action and that it provides incremental benefit in low to medium speed impacts. But NHTSA received complaints that owners were being turned away and told their vehicles were safe to drive without the remedy. Kayla White burned to death in her Jeep Liberty the day before that letter was sent. Her family's attorney says Kayla tried to get the remedy but was told the part was unavailable. Chrysler has accelerated the installation of the hitch on recalled Grand Cherokees and Liberty SUVs, but some dealerships are still telling customers their vehicles are safe without it.
Fix them. Admit fault. My daughter's gone. She's never coming back.
Covering the story, John Potter, Channel 2 News.
Coming up in sports, Reed High alum Gabby Williams was in action tonight with UConn as they look to advance in the women's NCAA tournament. Plus, a new candidate has emerged as the favorite to become the next head basketball coach at Nevada. Dallas will have that and more next.
Now, here's Dallas Kolodny with Channel 2 Sports.
Reed High alum Gabby Williams and the UConn Huskies were back in action tonight in second round game in the NCAA women's basketball tournament as the Huskies would take on the 8th seed Rutgers. Gabby again making an impact first half. She will get the ball down low in the paint, turn around and put it in off glass. Huskies lead by 12. Later in the half, she'll sneak behind the defense and add another layup here. Williams had a double-double this evening, 11 points and 10 rebounds as UConn continues to cruise towards another potential championship, 91-55. Well, it's been almost 2 weeks since the University of Nevada relieved head basketball coach David Carter of his duties after a 9-22 season. And a decision on a new head coach is expected this week. There's a meeting with the Board of Regents set for Thursday, and a leading candidate has emerged according to basketball coaching rumors website hoopdirt.com, and he is familiar with Reno, that being former Reno Bighorns head coach Eric Musselman. He was in the Truckee Meadows for just one season back in the 2010-2011 season, in which the Bighorns finished 34-16 and made the playoffs. Right now, Musselman is the associate head coach at LSU, and while he has never been a head coach in the collegiate ranks, that doesn't mean he doesn't have a lot of head coaching experience. He's coached some national squads like a team from Venezuela, along with spending 3 seasons to make that in the NBA, 2 with the Golden State Warriors and 1 with the Sacramento Kings. He didn't make the playoffs, though, with either one of those years. Reportedly, the 2 other main candidates are Tony Barbie. He's a special assistant to John Calipari at Kentucky, and Arizona associate head coach Joe Pasternak. Well, another Reno Bighorns player is off to the NBA as the Sacramento Kings have signed forward David Ware to a 10-day contract. Ware, who is a UCLA alum, had been averaging more than 16 points a game to go a little more than 7 rebounds a game for the Bighorns this season. He had a career-high 33 against Los Angeles back in January. He will be in uniform tomorrow as the Kings host the Philadelphia 76ers. Well, so far this year, the Nevada baseball team is having a terrific season. They are 20-4 and sit in a tie atop the Mountain West standings with San Diego State at 7-2. And the Wolfpack won 5 games in 5 days last week to move up the national rankings from number 29 to number 26 in the Collegiate Baseball Newspaper Top 30 poll. Of course, the Pack beat Sacramento State at Raley Field last Tuesday and then came home and swept a 4-game series from the Cincinnati Bearcats, including the 17-6 win on Saturday. The 17 runs was the most scored by a Wolfpack squad since they played in 18 in a win over Louisiana Tech 5 years ago. So here's a look at the top 5 of the top 30 rankings. Nevada is down in 26. As you can see, Texas A&M 24-1. They have 495 points in the poll. They are followed closely by LSU and Vanderbilt, 2 more SEC squads. And then TCU and UCLA round out the top 5. Nevada again down in 26. They have 435 points in the poll. That's 60 behind the Aggies if you're doing math. So the Wolfpack will return to the Diamond tomorrow night. They will again face Sacramento State, finish off that split 2-game series. First pitch at Piccoli set for 4 p.m. And of course, we will have all the highlights for you. And I don't want to forget about the Nevada softball team, as they will open up Mountain West play on Friday when they will play the Utah State Aggies at Hickson Softball Complex. First pitch is set for 4 p.m. Well, believe it or not, in 1 week's time, the Nevada football team will have begun spring drills up on campus, as they will start on the 30th with the annual Silver and Blue game set for Saturday, April 25th at 1 p.m. There will be a few open scrimmages to be determined before then, but it's kind of amazing. Football up on campus about to start again, that kind of 1 month thing they got going. Also, Pro Day will be on Wednesday. Cody Fajardo, Brock Hecking working out for NFL Scouts, but not open to the public, but I'll be there with a camera. So
Our little spy.
You'll be able to see. Oh, I'm not really a spy. They're allowing me in there, but because I have a media pass.
It's cooler if you say spy.
Yeah.
Much cooler if you say spy.
Yeah, spy. All right, I'm a spy.
Thanks, Dallas. We'll be right back.
Could see a shower tomorrow here. After that, it just clears out and warms up by the weekend, which of course it's never too early to look forward to. 70s and sunshine.
Very true. All right. Good night, everyone.